All right, let's talk about one of the biggest tech races on the planet right now, the race for quantum computing. And there's one country, China, that is putting everything it has into winning. So we're going to break down their entire strategy, piece by piece. So who is winning this thing? I mean, this is the question that's keeping people up at night in tech, in finance, even in national security circles. And for good reason, right? Quantum computing could change, well, everything. We're talking about breaking today's toughest encryption, discovering new drugs overnight. It's a huge deal. So who's going to be at the front of the pack? Well, if you want a clue, just follow the money. It tells a pretty clear story. Have a look at this. This is the global breakdown of government funding for quantum, and wow, that giant slice, 35%, that's all China. They are, without a doubt, the single biggest government investor in this race. It's not even close. And you have to understand this isn't just some academic exercise. Nope. This is about strategic dominance. This is the new global race, plain and simple. Okay, so how exactly is China tackling this? Are they just throwing money at the wall and seeing what sticks? Absolutely not. What we're seeing is a really coordinated, top-down, state-led blueprint. Everything is designed for one thing: long-term dominance. Now, to really get a feel for how big China's investment is, let's zoom out for a second. The total pot of money from governments around the world for quantum is about $42 billion. I mean, that's a huge number on its own, a serious commitment. And China's piece of that $42 billion pie? A full 35%. Just think about that. This isn't them just, showing up to the party. This is a massive, determined national push to completely outinvest and out-innovate everybody else. So where does all this money come from? Well, it's channeled through these huge state-backed funds. A perfect example is this one, nearly $48 billion for the National Integrated Circuit Fund. Now, this isn't all just for quantum, but it pours cash into the technologies quantum needs to survive, like super advanced computer chips. It's all connected. And the way they execute this strategy is just incredibly disciplined. It really does start at the absolute highest level, right on the Politburo's agenda. From there, it gets baked into official national policy, things like the 14th Five-Year Plan. And then, and only then, does the money flow down to create these powerful regional innovation hubs. See what I mean? It's centralized, it's deliberate, and it's all about the long game. Okay, so a big plan and a lot of money is one thing. But it's all just talk without actual results, right? So let's look at the key players who are actually making this happen and what they've been able to achieve so far. If you want to find the heart of China's quantum research, you've got to look at one place, the University of Science and Technology of China, or USTC for short. This is the main engine, the place where so much of the groundbreaking work is happening. People call it the epicenter of scientific breakthroughs, and honestly, they're not exaggerating. Some of the biggest moments in recent quantum history have come directly out of this university. It has absolutely put itself on the map as one of the world's elite research centers. And just look at how fast they're moving. Back in 2021, researchers there hit that huge milestone, quantum supremacy, with a photonic computer called Zhuzong. Okay, amazing. But then just 2 years later, they do it again with a totally different type of machine, a superconducting one called Zhushangqi 3. That shows they've got skills across different platforms. And now you have the private sector, companies like SpinQ aiming for a 100-qubit machine by the end of this year. The pace is just incredible. And it's not just about computing. China has jumped out to this massive, unrivaled lead in another key area, quantum communications. They have infrastructure like the Messias satellite up in orbit, which makes them the world leader in something called quantum key distribution, or QKD. Basically, it's a way to communicate that is, in theory, totally unhackable. This stuff is the bedrock for a future quantum internet. But hold on. This isn't some simple story where everything is going perfectly. China's quantum ambitions are running into some pretty serious challenges. So let's get into that. It's really a tale of two realities. You've got these incredible strengths on one side and some powerful headwinds on the other. You can really see it as a double-edged sword. On the one hand, yeah, you've got that insane level of investment, that clear lead in quantum communications, and a commercial ecosystem that's really starting to grow. But on the other hand, you've got things like U.S. export controls blocking access to key parts. We're talking high-end chips, specialized lasers, and that's a huge problem. Then there's the transparency issue, which can make it tough to know what's real progress. And finally, there's this risk of techno-nationalism, basically becoming too isolated from the rest of the world's scientists. And this all points to a fundamental clash of models, really. You've got China's approach, state-led, centralized, all about that long-range plan. And then you have the West, the US, the EU, which is much more market-driven, powered by private companies and innovation. It's this clash of philosophies that's a big reason why quantum has suddenly become such a hot topic for the G7 countries to coordinate on. So, where does this all leave us? What does the future look like? Let's try to peek ahead, say, the next 5 years and beyond, because this race is only going to get faster. If we're looking ahead, all signs point to China doubling down in its next 5-year plan. What can we probably expect? Well, first, they're likely going to embed quantum tech into all sorts of industrial policies. Second, they're going to push hard to set the new global standards for how these technologies work. And third, they'll try to build up a much stronger quantum network in the Asia-Pacific region, with, you guessed it, China right at the middle of it all. And really, when you put it all together, the money, the top-down vision, the constant breakthroughs, it leads you to this one really powerful idea. China isn't just a participant in the quantum race. No, it's actually shaping the track itself. They're helping to set the rules, build the infrastructure, and point the way for the whole field. Which brings us to the final and maybe the most important question of all. Look, their scientific wins are real, their ambition is crystal clear. But with a technology this powerful, one that touches global security, the economy, everything, is all that scale and ambition enough to earn global trust? Because in the end, that might be the one thing that decides who really leads the quantum age.